was the moment the youth climate movement blossomed in France. A march led by Swedish teenager and climate celebrity Greta Thunberg, who first launched the student protests. But take a closer look at these images. Notice anything unusual? Almost all of the youth on the front line are female. Greta, of course, but on her left and right, the leaders of the movement in Belgium. A coincidence? Perhaps. But if we head far south to Australia, we find these teenage girls championing the school strikes there. And over in the United States, it's 13-year-old Alexandria Villaseñor who's become the fresh face of the climate battle there. So, why are so many girls and young women engaged in action on climate change?
Even if these girls are still young, they can clearly see the reality of power. The grip men have over politics and major climate conferences. The grip men in suits have over decisions that they don't make, or that they make and don't apply. And maybe consciously or unconsciously, these young girls have a desire and a need to provide an opposite view.
In fact, a strong female presence in environmental movements has been documented for decades. From the Chipko movement in India in the 70s, where large groups of mainly women saved forests from logging by literally wrapping themselves around the trees, to more recent protests against a cement plant in Java, Indonesia, when for 36 hours peasant women buried their feet in blocks of cement in front of the presidential palace. It was no accident all of the protesters were female.
We are more compassionate, we fight with love. If the men stayed in the front, it might turn physical, and we don't want casualties.
Some say it's only normal that women are stepping up, because when it comes to enduring the impacts of climate change, women are also on the front line. Let's consider a few facts. 80% of people displaced by climate change are women. The people less likely to be able to swim and stay behind to help their family in the event of a weather disaster, women, which may help explain why 4 times as many women compared to men died in the 2004 Asian tsunami. And you know all those roles traditionally associated with women, such as feeding a family or searching for water and wood? Well, all that gets more complicated in a harsher climate.
And the problem is that these products are more and more difficult to get because of droughts, because of floods, because of desertification, for example. And so women spend more and more time to fetch these products. And also because food becomes scarce, what we realize that women ensure first that men and children are fed, and they think about themselves afterwards.
The link between women and the environment even has its own political theory, known as ecofeminism. Some of its followers say there's a parallel between Earth and women because both are dominated and exploited by a society led by men. Others believe that the female gender has a unique connection to the environment. Think Mother Nature, and so it makes sense they take action. But is leaving the burden to women a good idea? If we bring this down to an everyday level, some women even argue that the green movement can in fact be anti-feminist. Here's how.
The ecological transition is necessary, but at the same time it can slow down the emancipation of women because it makes household chores more difficult. We know 2/3 of household chores are done by women today, and it's more complicated to make your own window cleaning product than it is to go to the supermarket and buy one off the shelf. It also increases the mental burden on women because all this has to be planned.
I can hear some of you saying, well, why don't men just do more of the tasks at home? Ecofeminist or not, is climate change and action to fight it gender neutral?
Les questions environnementales sont des questions complexes.
Questions on the environment are complex because everything is connected. The climate, biodiversity, social aspects, and the type of life women lead, that is, earning a living, looking after the home and their children, means they have more experience connecting different things together. So they find it easier to get involved when it comes to fighting for their living environment and for questions that impact the well-being of everyone. We could say that one demonstrates to obtain something, but just the demonstration itself can also be important. A type of empowerment. In these protests, the girls are becoming aware of themselves, of their strength. They're not only demanding something, they're defining themselves as part of the fight.
It's certainly time more women had a say on how best to protect the environment. A UNESCO report confirms women are underrepresented in climate change decision-making. For example, women make up less than 30% of national and global climate negotiating bodies. Given they're unfairly impacted by its consequences, it's a double blow for women of the 21st century.